Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It happened. No surprise here. I don't know if it's a surprise over there. Israeli troops breach blue line to cross into Lebanon, forcibly enter United Nations base. Are you surprised? Then you don't know you don't know what's going on over there then. It's okay. Nice that you are here with me because I'm going to discuss this little article, this reality. Now, if you consider yourself, and I guarantee you consider yourself a just person, remember justice is distributed across the board to each and every person. It doesn't mean that if my father commits a crime, it's not going to be considered a crime because it's my father doing it, committing it, versus your father or whomever, one of your loved ones, committing the same crime. So that's the purpose. If you're not consistent in being just, then the population will not believe in the system. We're going to have rampant corruption. Why should I follow the rules when those guys don't? It's the same here. Do you think that if this would have done by any other country, aside from United States of America, probably another one around, I don't know, not even China, United States of America, I think, would be the only one, or a bad country, but not United States of America. Do you think that would be accepted by the United Nations, by the big players, by the United Nations Security Council? Do you think that would be acceptable? Do you think there would not be immediately, I don't know, a coalition of the good people put together and bombard Belgrade for 70 some days? Don't you think they would do that? They would not do that. Why they don't do it here? Like, hey, what's going on? Because they're part of it. The Big Daddy is part of the brain. I'm going to explain. Part of the brain, explain. Good job. All right. Sputnik. Israeli troops breach blue line to cross into Lebanon. Forcibly enter United Nations base. 30 minutes ago, today on the 13th of October, 2024. Moscow. Sputnik. United Nations peacekeepers in Lebanon saw Israeli troops breach the blue line that separates Israel from Lebanon on Sunday. Is that an invasion? I think so, under the international law. On a Sunday morning, and forced their way into a UN base at the southern Lebanese border village of Ramyah, in what the United Nations interim force in Lebanon described as a grave violation of international humanitarian law. Like always, imagine a society in which you don't have police force. Those are the enforcers of the laws. So if you would not do that, that means you can't punish people. Who's going to come and get them? By mail, you summon them to come with a warrant. Who's going to issue the warrant? Who's going to come and get you if you ignore the warrant? So you need some arbiters. You need some enforcers. What do we have here? Who's going to enforce the United Nations, peacekeeping, international law, humanitarian law? Anybody? It should be an immediate United Nations Security Council meeting. Immediate, as they like to say it, do you condemn? Okay? And then action. But if without action, like the guys to come and pick you up and get you to jail because you, refused to show up in court, right? Or let's say you're a subpoena. But if you're a special person, you can ignore a subpoena. But if you're like you and I, no, they're going to come and get me, arrest me. Or you. I don't know who you are. But nevertheless. So here you have. These guys are doing it. It's a violation. What's going to happen? Sanctions, people will come, blockades, the coalition of the willing is going to destroy these guys, or these guys take a shit on everything they want. Why? Because of the United States of America and because of a few other countries in the West. That's all. Because of those countries that are shackled, they can do what the fuck ever they want. Why? Why do you think Russia is the persona non grata, supposedly, on this planet? Because Russians, the European Russians, kicked them out little by little, especially Putin. So about in 1960, they lose control of Soviet Union. But they came back with investments in 1991. But then Putin kicked them out again. So they lost the, how do you call it, the candy shop, like 50 cent. Again, they lost it. They hate the Russians. Not the Americans, because the Americans are being, not giving, all right, receiving it. So let's see what these guys are reporting. And I'm quoting, early this morning, peacekeepers at the United Nations position in Ramya observed 3 platoons of Israel Defense Forces soldiers crossing the blue line into Lebanon, end quote. The statements read, while the peacekeepers were in shelters, 2 Israeli Markava tanks destroyed the main gate to the United Nations position and entered there. How do you destroy it? Go through it. The mission said, adding that the Israeli soldiers demanded that the base turn the lights off. Did they really destroy the main gate? I think they're lying. I guarantee you, these guys, United Nations is lying. They all lie. They all lie. We are the victims. Everybody wants to get us. Yes, we are. Look in the history. But we're the richest minority on this planet. Somehow. And we've been discriminated all these years, or these thousands of years. But we have the most money. We have the people in the right positions. But no, it's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. We're somehow good, and because we are. Let's move on. And I'm quoting, breaching the and entering a United Nations position is a flagrant violation of international law and Security Council Resolution 1701 from 2006. And the deliberate attack on peacekeepers is a grave violation of international humanitarian law and Resolution 1701. UNIFIL said. So this is what these guys say. How can you enforce it? You will not. 2 hours later, the same UN base reported the firing of several rounds some 300 feet north of the position, which caused smoke to enter the camp and caused skin irritation and gastrointestinal symptoms in United Nations troops. They are receiving treatment, the mission said. And he is a Pole without balls. Why? Because he can't act. Peacekeeper. Psst. All right. So, in a separate incident, Israeli soldiers denied passage to United Nations IFIL vehicles near the border of Lebanese village of Meis Ez Jabel. Why? Because they own it. They are conquering it. And I suspect 100%, suspicion, they will keep it. The critical movement could not be completed, the mission said. UNIFIL stressed that its mandate provide for freedom of movement, but they don't care. What are you going to do? Nothing. Everything goes to what can you do actively? Nothing. In the area of operation, and demanded that the Israeli military and other actors fulfill their obligations to ensure the safety and security of the United Nations personnel and property and respect the inviolability of United Nations premises. They took a shit on you. What are you going to do now? Nothing. Nothing. I guarantee. You know what it's going to be? It's going to be the Americans saying some harsh words with the Jewish American, how do you call him, Blinken. He's going to come, the Secretary of State, and is going to say something. All right? Maybe Mayorkas, why not? Or maybe Victoria Nuland, who's not in the government anymore for now. All right? How about she was appointed as in the board of directors of the beautiful organizations. Go and check it out. Very noble organization, because they are always noble and for noble cases. I mean, that's enough for you. All right, my friends. So why can't they do it but others can't? Now remember, if you, or let's say someone, let's get an outside example. Let's say someone who wants something from me. Jesus Christ. So let's say someone in their life was sexually molested. Unfortunately. Let's say it's a child or an adult or something like that. Does it mean that that person, somehow the laws don't apply for the rest of that victim's life? They do apply. So if someone had a bad situation in the past, does it mean that they can drive the speed they want, and if the officer stops them, they could be like, fuck off, I've been molested, so you let me go, and the police says, yes sir? Or they can steal, or they can take my car, or they can borrow whatever, they can do whatever they want? The answer is no. They still have to obey the law. That's how it is. But here, imagine international law, the United Nations. Israel is part of that. So even if you were abused here and there, and many other countries in the same way, other countries were abused too. It doesn't mean that you can just do what the fuck ever you want, unless you own the guys who could be the enforcers or the decision makers. But no, that's not the case. That's not the case. No. It's not. There are some psychological studies who state this, and this is the conclusion. I'm not saying they suggest, they state. People who are abused are more likely to abuse others once they get the upper hand, like a payback. So that means the more you are abused, the chances that the probability that you are going to someone else are increased. So if you are the perpetual victim, the biggest victim of this planet, according to you, and the history, then that means that once you have the upper hand over some, you're going to be the most likely entity who's going to commit abuse. All right, my friends, I think you know exactly what I want to say here. And they want me to condemn those guys in Ukraine, huh? It doesn't mean that too bad to makes it right or something like that, but that's why when these guys are telling me that I'm supposed to condemn Putin and all these guys, but over here, it's different. The law applies to all equally, or not. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.